What's up, basketball fanatics? If you thought Stephanie White's recent glowing statements about Caitlin Clark were genuine, you're about to get a massive reality check. I'm about to expose the real reason behind her sudden diplomatic tone, and it has nothing to do with actually supporting Clark. This is pure damage control, and I've got the receipts to prove it. But before we dive into this bombshell revelation, smash that like button if you're ready for some shocking behind-the-scenes truth. Let's be real here. Something doesn't add up. We're talking about the same Stephanie White who has systematically sabotaged Caitlin Clark's talents all season long. The same coach who took the ball out of the hands of the league's best passer. The same coach who forced a generational talent into a slow, predictable system that plays right into opponents' hands. And now, suddenly, she's singing Clark's praises. Now she's talking about unleashing her potential. Come on, people. This isn't genuine support. This is strategic positioning, and I'm about to break down exactly why. Here's what most people don't realize. Stephanie White's timing isn't coincidental. It's calculated. Right now, the WNBA is facing the biggest crisis in its history. The Wall Street Journal just called for federal intervention over Caitlin Clark's systematic mistreatment. We're talking about potential civil rights investigations, congressional hearings, and the possibility of the league losing its antitrust protections. The entire basketball world is watching as this story explodes. Federal authorities are being asked to investigate the coordinated targeting that saw Clark absorb 20% of all flagrant fouls last season, double the rate of any other player. That's not basketball. That's discrimination. And White? She's smart enough to read the room. She sees the storm coming, and she's positioning herself on the right side of history before it's too late. But here's what really forced White's hand: Sophie Cunningham's explosive podcast revelations. Sophie didn't just defend Clark, she destroyed the entire system with facts and zero filter. She exposed the coordinated locker room planning, the systematic targeting, the jealousy-driven campaigns. When Sophie said, "What are people doing? It's just too much." Too much. If I'm saying it's too much, then it's probably too much. That hit like a nuclear bomb. This is coming from someone who literally fought players on the court. When Sophie Cunningham says it's too much, you know it's absolutely insane. Sophie obliterated everyone questioning Clark's status. When people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit. You're literally dumb as shit. No filter, just pure raw truth. And White watched this unfold. She saw Sophie become a hero to millions of fans overnight. She saw the massive support for someone who actually defended Clark instead of sabotaging her. The evidence is everywhere. Twitter, Reddit, every social media platform is flooded with demands for accountability. Fans are threatening boycotts, refusing to attend games, and making it crystal clear they're Clark fans first, everything else second. White conducted that survey and saw the devastating results. An overwhelming number of fans said they'd stop following the team if Clark isn't properly utilized. These aren't empty threats. We're talking about the fan base that Clark single-handedly brought to the league, the merchandise sales that increased by 600%, the sold-out arenas that were empty before Clark arrived. White realizes she's facing an impossible choice: continue sabotaging Clark and face the wrath of millions of fans, or pivot quickly and try to save her own reputation before it's too late. So what does White do? She completely flips the script. Suddenly, she's talking about unleashing Clark's potential. She's claiming every practice has been designed around maximizing Clark's impact. She's painting herself as the mastermind behind some grand strategy. But let's call this what it is: damage control. White sees the writing on the wall. She sees federal investigations looming, fan revolts brewing, and heroes like Sophie Cunningham exposing the truth. She knows that being on the wrong side of this story could end her career, so she's desperately trying to rewrite history. She's hoping people forget about her sabotage, her lineup disasters, her systematic neutralization of generational talent. She's betting that diplomatic statements now will somehow erase months of coaching malpractice. White's calculated move might seem smart, but it's actually desperate. Fans aren't stupid. They've watched her sabotage Clark all season. They've seen the lineup decisions that made no sense, the offensive system that neutralized their superstar, the systematic underutilization of generational talent. You can't suddenly flip the switch and expect people to forget. Sophie Cunningham already showed what genuine support looks like. She risked fines, criticism, and her own reputation to defend Clark. That's real loyalty. White's diplomatic statements, that's just self-preservation. So here's the truth behind Stephanie White's sudden support for Caitlin Clark. It's not genuine, it's strategic. She sees the federal investigations coming, the fan revolt building, and heroes like Sophie exposing the systematic mistreatment of Clark. She's desperately trying to position herself on the right side of history before it's too late. But the damage is already done. White's sabotage of Clark's talents is documented. Her history of alienating star players is undeniable, and her sudden diplomatic tone reeks of desperation. The fans, the federal authorities, and the truth-tellers like Sophie Cunningham aren't buying this calculated pivot. White can try to rewrite history all she wants, but the evidence speaks louder than her diplomatic damage control. What do you think? Is White's sudden support genuine, or is this just desperate damage control? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe because this story is far from over.